Welcome to Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center. We are located at 350 North Orchard Avenue in Vacaville, California. We are part of Unity Worldwide Ministries, and if you are a first-time viewer, welcome home. And if you're joining our broadcast service again, welcome back. We are so happy you're here. Please click on this tile on our website, unityvacaville.org, to fill out our welcome card, update your personal information, or seek more information about one of our many programs. Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center is a loving spiritual community where everyone is welcome. Your soul is welcome here. Let us begin our service with a prayer from Reverend Dalia Adams.
Let us pray. Let us join our minds and our hearts. And let us open to gratitude, to that feeling of gratefulness. Gratefulness for this moment, for this day, for our time together, for the many, many blessings that are ours, for the presence of God in our lives. And for all of this now, we say thank you. Thank you, God. Amen.
My name is Bobby Fortner, and it is a privilege and pleasure to be your service assistant today. This morning, I want you to look at the people near you, or if you are alone, I want you to visualize those special people in your life. Next, please hold in mind and heart every person joining in this service, knowing that each one is also a beautiful child of God. And finally, let's envision all the people in our community, our state, our nation, and on our planet, and bless them all as we state together, you are a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. You are loved unconditionally, just the way you are. And if that's true for our loved ones and all the other people on the planet, it must also be true for ourselves. And so we take this in and know that we are also the Christ light, beautiful within. We state together, I am a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. I am loved unconditionally, just the way I am. Did you know our prayer chaplains are just an email away? If you are going through a challenging time or you have something you want to celebrate, our prayer chaplains are there for us for any reason at all. So you can email them at unityvv@pacbell.net, and our prayer chaplain will get back to you and have a prayer. Thank you for joining us today. Whether you choose to view our service online or choose to return to our building, you are a beloved part of our community, and we love and appreciate you. Thank you for supporting our broadcast and the center with your gift today. And our announcements. Our social hall is now open for us to visit after our 10 a.m. Sunday service. So that's what I love about Unity. We have these opportunities to join together, and now we are reopening our refreshments after service. The social hall is going to be open. And next, the Women of Unity is participating in the Festival of Trees, which benefits Opportunity House in Vacaville again this year. So the Unity of the Valley tree is being displayed at the Aceza Salon and Spa in the Regency Plaza on Elmira Road. You can visit www.vacaville.FOT for festivalofTrees.org to bid on or see pictures of the other donated Christmas trees. Happy bidding. And now as we center in this morning, let's take a deep, relaxing breath and repeat the statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in our lives, God the good.
Just when you think it's over, hands pull you from the sea. When you surrender, you're set free. Crashing waves can't pull you down. Don't you know your soul can't drown? You are spirit, you are free, you are infinity.
Up on dreaming, the sun sets in your mind. You lose your freedom, the gift of mankind.
Crashing waves can't pull you down. Don't you know your soul can't drown?
You are spirit, you are free, you are infinity.
Crashing waves can't pull you down. Don't you know your soul can't drown? You are spirit, you are free, you are infinity.
Now that you've opened your heart, you've let your soul expand. Awakening now, you understand.
Crashing waves can't pull you down. Don't you know your soul can't drown?
You are spirit, you are free, you are infinity.
Crashing waves can't pull you down. Don't you know your soul can't drown?
You are spirit, you are free, you are infinity.
My name is Reverend Dalia Adams, and I'm so honored to be here with you today. We've been talking about gratitude, about gratefulness, and the many, many ways that being grateful is a gift to ourselves, the way gratitude promotes health and well-being, the way that being grateful shifts our perspective and changes our experience of life, the way in which when we say, "Thank you, God," we are truly giving thanks for what God is in our lives, for what God is and for who we are, and that there are many, many layers of meaning and understanding what it means to be grateful. And so today I want to talk about I am grateful. And look at that one more time, what that means. And there are two questions that I want to weave throughout what we do today. And the first question is, what is it that you are grateful for? And the second question is, what does that gratefulness do for you? How does it impact your life? One of my favorite teachers of gratefulness is Brother David Standal-Rost. He is, I believe, about 95 years old. To the best of my understanding or knowledge, he is still with us. He was born in Vienna, has had a very, very interesting life. He moved with his family to the United States, and in his adult years, he joined the Benedictine monastery and became a monk. In his career as a monk, he's done many things, but he notably is a prolific author, best-selling author. He's a speaker, a teacher, and he's spent much of his life pursuing gratefulness, the practice of gratefulness and what it means and how we go about it, and teaching gratefulness. He has also spent a good part of his time pursuing Buddhist Christian dialogues. In other words, he was bringing together Eastern and Western ways of thinking long before it became popular. He contributed to a shift in the thinking in our culture, to an openness to Eastern philosophy. And he's also taught the many ways that the two philosophies at some deep level teach the same truth. He put out a video once called "A Good Day," and in it, he has a quote that has really touched me deeply. And in that, he says, "This is not just another day. It is the one day that has been given to you. It is a gift, and the only appropriate response to the gift is gratefulness." So often we move through our days mindlessly, inattentively. We wake up, we take for granted that we have this day. But in reality, each day is a gift. Just being here, being alive is a gift. And the response that is called for that gift is gratefulness. In a book called "For the Love of God," Brother David Standal-Rost wrote an essay, and in it he wrote about the various things, the different things that he's grateful for. And he said that he's grateful for mindfulness, this ability to be attentive and to notice our days, to notice our moments. He wrote about being grateful for having eyes that can see. As he wakes up every morning, his first thought is gratitude for his eyes, and the fact that when he opens his eyes, he will see. He wrote about how important it is to him not only to have sight, but to hear sound and to be able to smell smells and even the ability to touch so many different textures, so many different surfaces. And this gratitude for each day, this gratitude for each and every thing that the senses bring into his life, leads him also to a gratitude for the way in which he belongs. He belongs to this human family. He belongs in God and with God and through God. He belongs to this earth. And that sense of belonging is something that elicits in him a very deep and profound gratitude. So again, that leads to the question, what are you grateful for? And what is it that your gratitude does for you? Brother Ross said that, Brother Stendhal Ross, went on to say that his gratitude brings him joy. He wrote, "Gratefulness brings joy to my life. How could I find joy in what I take for granted? So I stopped taking for granted, and there is no end to the surprises that I find." So the second question, what is it that your gratitude does for you, is also important. Not just the question, what are you grateful for? But what does this gratefulness do for you? I had a really strange but wonderful experience a couple days ago. It was a day that was part of a series of days. Do you ever have that where, one thing after another seems to happen? And it was a day that began after the night in which my car died, just completely died. And I went through the feeling of being stranded and feeling helpless, and I couldn't reach people that I try to reach. And then ultimately I was fine, I was safe. I just went through one of those moments where I lost my footing, I lost my sense of inner balance. I forgot who I was. And then I remembered, and I woke up the next morning, and the other thing that was going on was my dog got very sick overnight. And I was up and down many, many times letting her out. She was having some intestinal issues. She was throwing up. She was crying. She had difficulty walking, and I was worried about her. So the day begins, and I knew that I needed to find a place where my car could be repaired. I also needed to get a rental car because I had to get to work. I had to get my dog to the vet. And then I was getting responses to my phone calls that were recorded responses, and they were looping. There were messages that told me to pick this number if I wanted this and this number if I wanted that. And I picked the number I was supposed to pick, and it looped me back around to the beginning message, and we started with the same menu over and over again. And this happened with several calls that I made. So there was the frustration, and once again, that sense of helplessness. But by this point, after the night before, I was remembering. I was remembering that God is in all things. I was remembering that I was not alone. I was remembering that no matter how hopeless I could feel with the phone recordings, that this was a challenge, and God, that divine presence in me, is greater than that challenge, and that these circumstances did not define me, nor did they define my life. And I've been reading and writing and talking about gratitude, so I remembered my own gratitude practice. And I remembered to be grateful for the really wonderful things that I appreciate, that I am grateful for. And I'm going about this process of trying to connect with people to do what I have to do. And I finally got an appointment time to come in and get a rental car, a time when there would be one available. And it was 2:00. I also got a veterinary appointment for my dog. When I called, initially they said they had no appointments for about 2 weeks. And then I heard back from them a little while later saying they had a cancellation and did I want to come in at 3:20? And I was so grateful for that because 2:00 picking up the car, 3:20 arriving at the vet seemed like very easy to do. I didn't have a ride to the rental car agency, and I could have hired one, but they offered to send a ride. So I was waiting for them. 2:00 came, and nobody came to pick me up. So I called them up, and there was a wonderful gentleman at the other end, and he said that the person who had taken down my address, my information, had accidentally shredded my name, my phone number, and my address. That's why I hadn't heard. So I gave my address again. Someone came, picked me up. I got there, there was a line. So by the time I got to the counter, it was like 2:30, which was going to make it close to get my dog to the vet. So the lady who was helping me was very, very sweet. She was very nice, but she wasn't very, very quick. So she was like making conversations. So 3:30 became 20, I'm sorry, 2:30 became 20 of 3, became 10 of 3. And she finally gave me the car keys. And I'm great. And she was walking with me to take me to the car. And when she came around the counter, she had a walker. So we walked slowly to this car. And by now it's almost 3:00. And I have to go home, pick up the dog, go to the vet. And I'm thinking, uh-oh. But in that moment where there is a potential to go down that rabbit hole, I remembered my gratitude practice, and I just was grateful. I was grateful that I could get a car, that I did have an appointment, that this lady had been so nice. And I was walking with her slowly, and spontaneously out of nowhere came this thought, this is a beautiful day. And with that thought came such feelings of joy. And as I thought this is a beautiful day, I looked over to this woman who was working so hard to be good to me, to walk me to my car as she moved her walker, and how hard this must have been for her in her effort to be good to me. And I looked up at the sky, and it was overcast. It was gray. I had a coat on. It was kind of wet and cold. There was a drizzle. It would have been so easy to think this was a lousy day. But spontaneously, out of nowhere, came those words, this is a beautiful day. And I looked up at the gray sky, and I felt the cold drizzle, and I felt this deep and profound yes, this is a beautiful day. And it stayed with me. It stayed with me as I drove to the vet, and I hit traffic. I hit some pretty bad traffic. And there was no way I was going to make it by 3:20. And I called the vet, and I said, I'm not going to make it. She said, that's no problem. We just had another cancellation. And she gave me a later time. And I got there, and my dog was taken care of. It was not a serious, it was serious for her, but it wasn't a life-threatening problem. So she's feeling better. But that moment of this is a beautiful day, and that deep sense of gratitude that went with it, I believe was the gift of the time and attention that I've been giving to gratitude, my willingness to practice gratitude in the face of frustrating and not such, quote, wonderful moments. I still remember the profound joy of that moment. I still remember how beautiful the day looked and felt when I looked up at the gray clouds and felt the cold drizzle. This is, in the grand scheme of things, a minor event. But that experience of gratitude and joy was not minor. The gift, the deep gift of gratefulness can be given to us whether we're grateful for something little or something big. And I want others to share their experience of gratefulness with you as well. And again, we will be focusing on two questions. What is it that you are grateful for? And how does this gratefulness impact you? I'd like you to ask these same questions of yourself. So please listen to some amazing wisdom of the people who agreed to talk to me. I just want to thank you so much, Denny, for your willingness to speak with me today, to share from your heart. And I want to ask you two questions today. The first question is, what are you grateful for?
Like everyone, I've had some pretty serious challenges. Some of mine sort of all kind of came together a few years ago, and I turned to faith for the first time in a long time. And so primarily I'm grateful for faith having brought me through these challenges. Certainly my kids, my family, my friends, my Unity community have all contributed to that. And I was aware that I had a lot to be grateful for, but I hadn't developed a gratitude practice. So I'm grateful for the new skills. I'm grateful for the new pathway. I'm grateful for the new knowledge that I have regarding the power of gratitude in dealing with life's challenges and even physical challenges, chronic pain, embracing things that don't always go our way. It's relatively new to me, but it's a real part of my life now.
Thank you. And the second question that I want to ask you is, what does being grateful do for you?
I think primarily, again, developing a daily practice, or at least a regular practice of acknowledging spirit, again, being grateful for things that maybe aren't your preference. When I engage in gratitude, it leaves less room for negative thoughts, ruminative thoughts, depressive thoughts. When you are in a state of gratitude, it's hard for other things to get in. So the more I can keep myself on that path, the less likely I am to go down a rabbit hole of negative thoughts or negative emotions. And I think that has helped really every aspect of my life, my relationships, my performance, my understanding, because now when I'm reading some of these concepts, there's a clarity that I didn't have before. So I think that it really has transformed virtually every aspect of my life.
That's pretty big, to have every aspect of your life transformed. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and I am grateful for you today.
And I'm grateful for you, Reverend Dalia. Thank you so much for the invitation.
All right. Mark, thank you so much for your willingness to share with us today. I have two questions. The first is, what is it that you are grateful for?
I think I can't really focus down on one thing. I think I'm just grateful for absolutely everything. The way the sun hits the trees, the color of the trees in the afternoon. Everything that's happened in my past reminds me the universe doesn't waste anything, and everything leads to this moment. And most of the time I can't really tell what happened until I look backwards. And then I say, oh, that's what happened. But one time when I retired, I saw one coming at me. And that's a little freaky when you actually see the universe coming at you. But I'm pretty much grateful for just about everything.
And then, Mark, what does your gratefulness, what does your gratitude do for you?
I would say I have a reputation of being something of a Pollyanna. And I think that's the positive way I see, I look at life. As a scientist, my view is the glass is as full as it's supposed to be, but it's over designed. So, but as I said earlier, I look back and I'm grateful for everything that's happened to me. I'm grateful for what's happening now, and I'm excited about what's coming. I mean, I can't see that yet, but I had a glimpse at one time when I was retiring of seeing it coming at me. But I think it just keeps me very positive and avoids negative thinking. I get caught in that once in a while, but it doesn't last long. So I think that's what it does, is it improves the positiveness of my view of life.
Thank you so much. Thank you both, Mark and Renee. I so appreciate that you were willing to share with us. And I appreciate you. I'm grateful for each of you, for both of you.
We're grateful for you too.
Indeed.
Mary, I want to say thank you for your willingness to talk to me today. I have two questions. And the first is, what is it that you are grateful for?
I have so many things that I am grateful for. In fact, this year in 2021, I decided to do a gratitude journal. I'd done that in the past and I needed that. I needed to remember all the things that I was grateful for. And I look forward to it every evening to think about my day. So some of the things that I'm grateful for is my loving family and my wonderful friends. The fact that I can talk to you and I can watch church service on Zoom. I know that Zoom sometimes we get zoomed out, but I am very grateful that I can still participate in California events being in Florida. Of course, my beloved Mother Earth and all her beauty, all the flowers and trees and breeze, the cool temperatures that she sent to us. Lately, I've been reading and watching books about our bodies and trying to make sure that I'm staying healthy. And my gosh, what the divine creator made within our bodies. I am just so grateful for my body a lot of times. I enjoy eating, so there's sometimes that in my gratitude journal, I'll write down some good dish that I had, including some veggie stir fry or something like that. So I am grateful for so many things. So those are a few of them.
Thank you for sharing them. The second question that I want to ask you is, what does being grateful do for you?
What gratitude does for me is helps me to focus on how blessed I am and how things can be very small. You know, sometimes it's as small as noticing a bird or a bird singing. And because I'm kind of thinking of my gratitude journal and just, it's like I will notice that and I won't let it pass me by without thinking, oh my gosh, isn't that lovely? And sometimes I would have taken it for granted and not noticed it. So it fills my heart with joy. It can give me peace, because sometimes when you're troubled and you are not finding things going the way that you want them to go, if you can move yourself into gratitude and just remember, oh, that's right, it gives you a feeling of peace and centeredness and knowing that everything's going to be okay and that I can take actions to make things better for me. So those are some of the things that when I'm grateful, that's what it gives to me. It's definitely, I get so much more from being grateful than what it takes to do it. It just shifts my attitude.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And I am so grateful for you, Mary.
Oh, thank you. I am grateful for you too, Reverend Dalia.
Lisa, thank you so much for your willingness to be here and to talk with me today. I have two questions I want to ask you. The first is, what is it that you are grateful for?
I am grateful for time, and not just chronological time or time on a clock, but the time that I've given myself consciously to heal, to learn, to just be, to be conscious in the moment. You know, when I was younger, I always felt really rushed. My parents were always working all the time and everybody was always busy, and it would really stress me out. And I thought, maybe I just don't fit into this world. But now as an adult, I finally, after going through a bunch of trauma, have learned to just give myself time. And from that, it's like it's a life-shifting and complete altering experience for me. I give myself time to learn things. I give myself time to experience things, or even to respond to somebody, especially if I'm feeling really emotional. I try to wait before I respond, which is, I mean, it seems like you can almost look at any category of my life and see that time has been something that's been a beneficial thing for me. And the fact it didn't just come to me, it was, I have to force it into my life. I have to protect it, and I have to make it a priority, because the world will try to rush you and put you on different time situations and expectations. And I have to really be conscious of that. And I'm just so grateful of it. So it helps me fight for it and make sure I put that into my schedule and make sure I surround myself with time, because I have so much gratitude for it and what it's done for my life. So it's easy to remember to do it. So
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. The second question that I have for you is, what does your gratitude, what does your gratefulness do for you?
my gratitude is what makes me feel connected to why I feel like I'm here in this lifetime. It's what makes me feel calm, connected, supported, loved. It's like it brings me back to, it's the very beginning of who I am, I feel like, or the beginning of time for all things, but for myself. And so, because I feel like when I get back in touch with what's in this moment, and what I'm grateful for, and doing that as a daily practice, I try to do it as often as possible. I do it every night, definitely, but I also try to do it throughout the day, and not just when I'm stressed out. When things are good, when things are bad, like I just try to check in, because it's like checking in with the truest part of myself and the truest part of life. And it alters me, because it's like, instead of being caught up in all these different things, which is a daily thing, it doesn't go away at some point because I practice gratitude. It's always there. The expectations to be somebody different, or to do something for other people in a different way than maybe what feels right for me. And even some of those expectations are coming from myself, from my own, wait, Lisa, you shouldn't be like that. But to get back in touch with my gratitude reminds me that there's something bigger going on. I'm part of this bigger thing. And It reminds me of an instrument that's being tuned to the right notes. You know, it's like the instrument gets out of tune after a while. That's just the nature of being physical. You know, a piano will come out of tune, a trumpet will get out of tune. And so I feel like we do too. And gratitude is the retuning back to that true sound, that true nature of what we are. Oh, and I do want to say one more thing. Sorry. After I experienced trauma, it was like I was inside of a dark hole in the ground, and it was other people who had experienced trauma were the closest people that could relate, or that I could relate to. But it still is a personal thing because the trauma is so specific to you, the circumstances of it, how your body responds to the trauma, how your mind responds to the trauma. A lot of those things are out of your control. You're just witnessing yourself experiencing the trauma, which is another trauma. But so you're inside of this, I was inside of a dark hole. And for me, the only thing that started me getting out of that was a ladder that was brought down into the hole. And that ladder is gratitude. And if I took a step every day, just one step of just recognizing what I did have left after that, that is what led me out of the darkness. And it was a daily thing, because some days I would take a step and I would be grateful. And then I would fall back into the hole. And then maybe another day I'd be able to take 3 steps and then fall back into the hole. And some days I'd just not want to be anywhere near the ladder because it'd be too much pain from falling. Yeah. But then I'd muster up the strength and I'd do it again. And I think gratitude is the number one thing that can heal us all to be connected and not be a victim and not be just lost in the current of life, and really just have a sense of connection. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa. I so appreciate you, and I'm grateful that you've been willing to do this with me today.
Thank you for including me.
Carolyn, thank you so much for your willingness to talk with me today. And I would like to ask you 2 questions. The first question is, what are you grateful for?
There is so much to be grateful for. I hardly know how to begin. But I have really been reminded about the importance of gratitude since my beloved Vic died just under a month ago. And of course, there's tremendous grief with that. But all swirled around with the grief is this underlying gratitude. Because there was just so much love there, and it's still there. I'm grateful for the unity teachings that have allowed me to reframe thoughts that could be negative or missing the mark somehow. And I feel like what Vic taught and what I believe, what really resonates with me, is that gratitude is a shortcut to the heart. And the heart is this vast open space where we can find joy and peace. And I am grateful to know that. I'm grateful to experience that, especially now. What could be the most devastating blow is not devastating. I feel his presence with me, and it's light and it's love and it's gratitude. So I'm grateful for all that I've learned, and I'm grateful in my elder years for getting to practice everything that I've learned. And I mean everything. So all the studying, all the affirmations, all the talks and the books and the journaling and the therapy and all of it, it all comes into play. Nothing is lost or wasted. I am grateful for the growth, the spiritual growth, and for the deep understanding that love is our guide no matter what happens on the outer surfaces and all around us. If we can stay, if I can stay in this open heartedness, I am joyful and I'm at peace.
Thank you so much. And in many ways, I think you've already answered the second question, but in case there's something you'd like to add, the second question is, what does your gratitude do for you? What does it give you?
Gratitude gives me space. It allows me to focus on what is here and not on what used to be or what I wish could be, but to be grateful for what I have right now, which is, that old saying, be here now. Ram Dass wrote that book, and it has never been more important and more real to me in these last few months. Be here now. And that's what gratitude does. It brings me back home so that I know there are sorrows that will be with me always. And I know that gratitude expands my heart so that I can hold those sorrows and they don't take me down. They ride along with me, but they're not in the driver's seat. And that makes a profound difference. So one of my favorite sayings has always been, when the heart breaks, it breaks open. And I can feel that now. I can feel my heart breaking open to gratitude, to love, to peace, and to joy. And then Vic is right here.
Thank you so much. I am grateful for you, Carolyn.
I'm grateful for you, Dalia. Thank you.
I am so grateful to each and every person who is willing to share his or her or their wisdom and their gratefulness and their experiences with us. So once again, I leave you with the questions, what are you grateful for? And how does this gratefulness impact your life? And then I invite you to join with me in an affirmation. Today, I am grateful. Again, today, I am grateful. And so it is.
I find my greatest strength when I become still and enter the silence of my deepest being. I find my greatest strength
So now let us move more deeply into our time of meditation. I invite you to sit comfortably, to allow your breath to come easily and effortlessly. Let your breath find its own easy and natural rhythm. Be mindful of your breath. Be attentive to it. Remember that it is the very breath of life, the breath of God that moves through you in this moment. And pause for a moment. Be grateful for this breath, this very breath. Be grateful for the breath of life that is moving through you right now. And then notice how your breath feels as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Notice how each breath takes you deeper within. And allow yourself to be grateful for this ability to look inward, to move into the very depths of your being. Allow yourself to be grateful for that sacred space within you, that sacred space where you know, where you feel, where you experience the presence of God. For a little while, rest in that sacred space within you. For a little while in the silence, be grateful for that experience of the presence of God within you, for your ability to know, to be aware that all that God is moving in and through you right now. Allow yourself to be grateful that you can be aware that the allness that is God is that the divine presence that is in you in this moment. And for a little while in this silence, with your heart open in gratitude, allow yourself to be grateful for the presence of God in you in this moment. I am grateful, and my gratitude fills me with joy. Holding those affirmations in your heart, allow yourself to return your attention to this time, to this place, to the present moment. Take a nice deep breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. And then join with me in saying thank you. Thank you, God. Amen.
And it is now time in our service where we stop and we give grateful gratitude for our prosperity and abundance. It is time to remember that we are in a wonderful flow of giving and receiving, and we joyfully give our tithes to Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center as we state together, God's love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, all that I give and receive. I am grateful. And now, please join me in giving thanks for the increasing and constant flow of absolute good in our lives by stating together, the inexhaustible resource of spirit is equal to every demand. There is no reality in lack. Abundance is here and now manifest. And please join me in the singing of our peace song now.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our Father, brothers all are we. Let me walk with my brother in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now if you would please join me in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. We are one holy family. We celebrate our oneness and honor our diversity.
And so as we bring this spiritual experience, this spiritual gathering to a close, let us join in our closing affirmation. And I invite you to hold this affirmation in your heart and in your mind throughout the week. Our closing affirmation is, I am grateful. Join with me. I am grateful. And so it is.
And this morning I would like to thank Reverend Dalia for her wonderful message and talk, and thank you for joining us today. And so until next time, let me begin with the waving of the hellos. Hello. Thanks for coming.
Everybody got a little something only you can bring. It's a puzzle, put it all together. Need every piece to make it complete, yeah. Every note to make a symphony. All the voices singing harmony. All the colors of the rainbow shining. Everyone, everyone. Say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes to a world with a little more love. Little more love, oh yeah. Never feel you're insignificant, like a tiny little grain of sand. What you do, what you say makes a difference. Go ahead and reach out your hand. Open a door, say hello. A stranger today, you might get to know 'em. Little love just keeps on growing. Change a life without even knowing. Say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. It takes everyone, everyone, everyone to make a world with a little more love. Little more love. Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter where you come from, gender or race, spiritual beliefs or orientation. Everyone has got the same motivation. Love is love, the same situation. Give love and help one another.